Hello, and welcome once again to Escaping Dystopia. My name is Wah. I'll be your host. Today is March 4th, 2025. This is episode 127. Long ago, the United States was a bastion of democracy in the world. In the long ago, the United States had a roaring economy that was the envy of the world. And long ago, which was like last month, the United States had free speech and a Department of Education and Social Security and a functioning fucking democracy. Look, y'all, the long ago, which again was December 19th, 2025, and prior for the last 248 years, the United States was one kind of country. The United States now is pretty clearly a fascist dictatorship. What? That sounds horrible. This last week, the President of the United States shit all over one of our allies who is fighting off Putin's Russia. Shit all over him in the middle of the Oval Office. The dumbest stuff you think you've seen. And then the Republican Party, fine with it. The rest of the week, the Republicans are out there cutting everything they don't like. Having Elon in there, just cutting off payments. Just the things they don't like. Calling it waste, fraud, and abuse. Bullshit. Sorry. All right. So I'm a little, everybody's a little angry, a little pissed off at this bullshit. There's been a lot of yelling. There's been a lot of screaming. And so that was it. I had to get that out. Look, some people like to yell. Some people like to scream. I don't. I've got one of those voices that I can get a bit Bene Gesserit with it and have the dad voice that comes out. Stop! And it cuts a little different. So I don't like to yell. This last week has made that a difficult proposition. The amount of crap that they have been forcing through as this Project 2025 becomes a reality, and you now have a stark line between the United States prior to Donald taking over with his second term and the long ago, back when we believed in democracy. Let me tell you a little bit. I'm going to tell you a quick anecdote. So I actually do I do some stuff. I volunteer with, this is me, by the way, on the Blue Sky, if you want to follow me over there. I do with a lot of this stuff constantly. I do with scouting. I'm a volunteer. I do my son's Boy Scout troop. I've been doing this for a few years now, since he was the early tiger, bear, lion. Oh, my. We went through all that together with me as the Boy Scout leader. Now he's in the Webelos. They're in the 4th grade. They've switched now. It's now Scouting America. It's no longer the Boy Scouts of America. They changed that. Oh my God, woke destroyed everything. Get over yourselves, folks. Look, scouting, and by the way, I'm an Eagle Scout, so this is not like, this isn't coming from nowhere. Every week at our meetings, or every month, I should say, I'm not the best about doing meetings, we literally say the Pledge of Allegiance with the flag. We do the Scout Oath and the Scout Law. These are pledges of ethics and morals. These are good things to have. So this last lesson I did, and this is it here on the page. They have all these are all public resources, and I'll share this so you can take a look at it. They have these various adventures that you go through with it as you're teaching the kids, just to kind of cover some stuff. We've gone over all sorts of things. If you're familiar with scouting, both Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, actually that's not, anyway, Scouting America and Girl Scouts, I guess, is now highly recommended. Highly recommend for kids if you get a chance. It's a good alternate way for them to learn some stuff that everyone kind of thinks of as common sense or decency. Which brings us to this last meeting. As I bring in the kids and I'm kind of talking to them a little bit about it, this is the adventure, and these are really well broken down. They've got lessons, requirements, all this different stuff we're going over. We started to go over this thing for the American Disabilities Act. And so I asked the kids, a little bit, say, hey, what kind of government do we have in the United States? And fishing for democracy, right? That the notion here is to kind of get the kids understanding. And we actually did a little mock vote for a Denner, which is an official assistant. So we had a little vote and kind of talked to him about it. Kind of explained the difference between 2/3 and a majority, especially when you have 5 people in a room, right? And 2/3 majority all of a sudden becomes 4 out of 5, whereas a simple majority is 3, and some of these different concepts. But I asked the kids, what kind of democracy that we have, and they're a little quiet. And then one of them pipes up, and I shit you absolutely not, we have a Donald Trump government. And he said it loud and he said it proud. And I had to correct him and say, no, we live in a democracy. And then I went through, and this is why I started to think of the long, long ago. Because for all of this boy's life, and these kids are 10, I've got children of both genders in my troop, my pack. My den, sorry. I've been doing this for years. I still can't keep track of stuff. I have to think through it every time. But as we're going through it, I'm just explaining the different, roles of government and things like that. And it was tough. It was really tough. Like, we're going in through, and this has, this branches of government, and I'm kind of explaining, different parts of different things. You go through the American Disabilities Act, who came up with it, then they challenge it in court, then they update it. And I try and explain to the kids, like, this is why there's ramps outside. This is why there's railings. And, explaining, do these companies want to do this? Do they want to invest this extra money in having an accessible bathroom and things? And the answer, of course, even these kids get it. No, they don't. Right? Because these kids now get doing things against your will or doing for it, but also understanding, like, this is how you make things accessible. This is a fundamental aspect of the United States, that we have these laws that are then implemented. And the Americans with Disabilities Act is a great example of this, where we fundamentally said, no, these people are actually our citizens. These are our fellow citizens. They should have access to all the same resources and everything else. And you, as business, if you want to do business here in this country, you have to provide accessibility to them. And so we go through this and talk about this class and adventure. And this is why I was talking about the long, long ago, because I don't want to lose what we've had. And people, it is at risk. I don't know if you made it this far. The United States government is at risk. We've been attacked. Oh no! And we're in a tough place. And I'll link those resources later. So people are seeing this, and now I'm going to go through some of the big news for this last week, and then we'll go through some of the other big stories up here. But this last week at the White House, some of the most shameful, horrid behavior from a president in history. The way that Donald treated Zelensky as he came. He's been defending his country from this Russian invasion for years now. For years. And then Donald held up the aid this summer, and I was then he comes, and now he's cut it off. They've cut off all funding for Ukraine's aid after this White House visit. It was ridiculously shameful, and I'll have to go, and we'll find some clips of this here in a minute. I'm going to go through the news. Not only that, while I was there, Marco Rubio was there next to him. Rubio was so pathetic and weak in this meeting. I really just, I need to find some of the stuff on this, but he looks so sad, and he's so ridiculous because he's betrayed every single thing that he claimed to believe in for Donald. And then the Senate actually confirmed him, and now multiple Democratic senators have been like, yeah, we made a mistake. You shouldn't have voted for him. He got confirmed with a 98 vote, unanimous vote. And now he's doing this ridiculous stuff, going out saying Donald's a genius for screwing over Ukraine and siding with Russia. And it is so clear and obvious that the president of the United States, he's picking a fight with Canada and Mexico and siding with Russia. And it is just mind-blowing what's going on. It's clear what's going on with the rest of it, but the rest of the Republican Party is also going along with this. All of these people who are supposed to be so respectful and so worthy of your respect, none of them ever in your life again do you need to respect. Even frickin' Donald's out there saying, quoting Reagan at this point, after doing what he's done with Russia now to this point. The disconnect between the reality of what Republicans and Donald are doing and saying and claiming they believe in and their values is so tremendous. It's so huge at this point. You cannot ignore it. So, Elon and Doge. This has been one of the more ridiculous things that's also coming out. Again, just to be clear about this, and let me open this up real quick and I'll share this. They do keep, at this point, although again, Donald fired all the people who are in charge of the Federal Election Commission, illegally, of course. And this is one of the many lawsuits going on right now. Am I really out of memory? You're really going to do this to me, computer? Open Secrets is full right now. Huh. All right. Well, anyway, I was going to go to Open Secrets and show you that Elon had given $300 million to Donald this last election cycle. Again, the most money ever given by a single person by far. And then there's this cabinet meeting, and Elon's standing there like a jackass in a t-shirt and a hat, and he's conducting this whole meeting in the cabinet in the United States. And Elon wasn't elected. Like, he's a donor. That's it. And then with this Doge thing, this, quote, Department of Government Efficiency, where they're just going through and canceling stuff they don't like or don't understand. There have been tremendous stories, 20, 30, 40, 50 stories all across the country about stuff like they closed the buildings on top of the nuclear waste facility in Nevada that manages like the salt mines underneath where we store with all this crazy stuff to keep this nuclear waste. They fired all the people who work up top. It's like, oh, well, these people don't do anything. Gone. Right? And they're claiming as savings by ending contracts that are ended years ago but still exist in a computer. And they're so dumb and bad about it, but the level of competency in our media to call BS on these people is so low that they don't even know how to do it. And so they're doing this, and this has been something, again, you need to understand this for if you're just coming to politics, the notion of waste, fraud, and abuse, and it's been like this mantra that Republicans have been singing for these last couple weeks. All it means when Republicans say it is spending they don't like. That is all those three words mean. In the real, actual world, all of these are actionable, and in many cases, there are layers of government that were built to deal with them specifically. One of the first things that Donald did was fire all the inspector generals. The inspector generals are focused on that fraud, right? Fraud is actionable. Abuse, that's the kind of stuff, those are crimes. So this waste, fraud and abuse, if they say fraud, how many criminals have you referred, right? Those are fraud, that's crimes. So if they say that exists, there should be corresponding crimes prosecuted, right? This abuse is one of the most just amorphous terms, right? Again, but they're then become defined in the law of saying, oh, if this person is doing that, then that's again violating the law itself, right? So this term that catch-all for spending I don't like is something that Republicans really get away with just as a shorthand a lot, because as a person, gosh, I don't want the government spending money on waste, fraud, and abuse. Why would I want them to do that? No, I don't. I think the government is perfect and doesn't waste a penny. It's such a dumb argument, because in any organization there is going to be some slippage somewhere along the thing, because everything is made up of humans, and so you have always other systems to watch this. And then outside third-party systems that watch that. And we have a system of government that was largely free of corruption. there was still problems. Oh, it's not perfect. You're saying it's perfect. It's such a dumb argument from these people. When you actually point out, oh no, that's actually the Inspector General's job. Well, yeah, the Inspector General, did they conduct a war? These people are so stupid. And that's what Republicans are now. Just, they play dumb for so long, it's stuck. And that's what they are. So this Doge thing is super dumb. It's going to hurt a lot of people. The USAID closure has already killed people that we know of. And it's just horrible. So let's talk about now the next stupid-ass, dumbass, motherfucking thing this idiot's doing, which is picking a war with Canada and Mexico over tariffs. He spent his first term renegotiating. NAFTA sucks. I'm going to make NAFTA so better. America first NAFTA. We're going to name it America NAFTA, which is the North American free trade agreement. And now he's picked this trade war with the exact same people. Why? Because he's a fucking idiot trying to destroy this country for Putin. And everybody else. The guy is so ridiculously corrupt. So corrupt that our media didn't even ask for his tax returns this year. Like he's gonna show. Back in the long ago, before, we absolutely demanded that our politicians showed us where their money was, how much they had, who they owed, what the situation was, and then this guy shows up and be like, well, he's a billionaire. Nobody knows. It's so stupid. It is so dumb. All right, how are we doing? We got 17 minutes of this stupid bullshit. Sorry. Come on. So those are the main things that I wanted to talk about. Oh, if you're wondering about the bubble cam, somebody asked about this on the last show. So, few reasons. One, it's the bubble. It's a media bubble. Everybody's got this media bubble. You build this universe around you. If your understanding all comes from the media that you consume. So I'm trying to make that literal. So you see my little media bubble. Oh, kind of a joke there. Also, Spaceship Earth. This is my moral theory about humanity. That's way better than theology and all the God supernatural shit. And also, we're on a sphere. It's kind of important. It's a very efficient way for the universe to organize energy. In fact, it is the most common way that energy is organized in the universe, both as hydrogen and as massive, large things. So spheres, they're cool. And I liked it. I thought it was cool. It kind of obscures the background, so you can't see too much of my basement. So, anyway, that's why the sphere is here. Now let's go wander through some stuff. This is me. This is what I think the Dems should have done tonight.
You can do what you want to us, but we're not going to sit here
and
listen to you bad-mouth the United States
Hell
of
no.
America.
No, we're not.
Gentlemen.
You're not walking out on this one, mister.
Oh, yes, we are, Trumper.
You're finished. No more Delta.
Totally what the Dems should be doing tonight. Just walk the hell out.
I'm going to revoke your charter.
Ah, such a classic. My charter? Anyway, that's a fun one. All funding for every college will be stopped for anybody who protests. Protesting. I mean, this is, again, like across the board, illegal bullshit against everything we believe in as Americans. Just constantly. Day in and day out. Week after week. This here is, this is Cokehead. He does a bunch of Cokehead stuff.
Everyone thought this thing would be over in 2 weeks, but then they ask for F-16s.
This is Ukraine. This is Russian propaganda that this cokehead is spewing back at us. Here it is, right? U.S. suspends all military aid to Ukraine in the wake of Donald throwing a baby. And then this here.
Question from Russia saying that your foreign policy is largely in line with their vision. Should that be concerning to Americans?
Yes, you think?
Should that be concerning to Americans?
Read the statement.
That Russia says that your administration's foreign policy is, quote, largely in
Russia
line
says
with
they
their
love
vision.
everything that you do.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it takes two to tango, and you're going to have to make a
doesn't
deal
make any
with Russia,
sense.
and you're going to have to make a deal with Ukraine. You're going to have the assent, and you're going to have the consent from
He doesn't know the word.
European nations, because I think that's important, and from us. I think everybody
He's
has
so
to get into
orange.
a room, so to speak, and we have to make a deal. And the deal...
So he already tried this, and he failed miserably, right? That was the whole thing. He was going to get them in a room on day 1, mind you, and now we're in month 2, and now he's cut off Ukraine. Oh, yeah, this is something I wanted to talk about, too. Elon does not understand Social Security. Watch this.
Is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
It's not a Ponzi.
Right, explain that.
That's not how that
Oh,
works.
so well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately. But the obligation for Social Security is
That's not how
your
it works.
entire retirement career. So you're
Until
you're
you
paying,
die, yes. It is
but
not
the-
a fixed benefit.
You're paying, like if you look at
I
the future
probably said that wrong.
obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue.
So the tax revenue. So there's a couple things about Social Security. A, it has a less rosy fiscal outlook in the future, like it's going to run out of money because less and less income as a percentage of overall income is taxed with Social Security taxes. Social Security taxes only apply to about the first $170,000 that you make a year. Elon stopped paying Social Security taxes about 8 minutes into the year. Right? All of his money that he made after that is not taxed by Social Security taxes. That's why Social Security is having a funding issue, because the number of people who are expected to draw off of Social Security is not the same as the number of people coming into it. Birth rate has to do with it. There's a number of other things, but also the big part is we are not taxing people like Elon to pay for Social Security. Also, you need to understand Social Security is Social Security. It is an anti-poverty program. It is not an investment scheme. That's what a Ponzi scheme would be, is an investment scheme where your return is based on how much you pay in. And then as a percentage of that. But with Social Security, what you do is pay in. Once you reach a certain level, you are therefore vested, so to speak. And then once you draw benefits, you will draw benefits until you die. Longer life expectancy, which by the way has recently been reversed in the United States, was also making Social Security look worse on paper. But COVID helped a little bit with that too. But Elon is so wrong about his concept of what Social Security is and how it works. So let me say this real quick. So Republicans are now being advised not to do town halls anymore because there have been a bunch of town halls that have gone viral because people keep yelling at them because they're pissed off. Even Republicans are pissed off at this stupid BS. Look at this. Like the new defense secretary, this drunk guy, orders suspension of cyber operations against Russia. Like we're not even fighting them anymore online. Which of course, if you're familiar with Elon's X website, you know that that's been the case for a while. So the corruption that I've talked about, now it's a Suspension Enforcement of Corporate Transparency Act. So we have, again, a number of laws that are anti-corruption laws, especially on the international stage, and they, day in and day out, continually are like, no, we're not going to do that anymore, don't care about that, nope. And firing all the people that do this. At the FBI, these are all people who have careers, who've learned how to do these investigations. I did this kind of stuff for a while. It is specialized work. And getting rid of people, these are not replaceable overnight. So much of this destruction that's happening to our government across the board on these experts is intentional, internal destruction of the United States government. It should be treated like this. So let's go international. What's going on? Yeah, so speaking of day one crazy things, Donald, after doing this Trump Gaza, like just one of the more just disgusting things that I've seen in a while. Like, just this Trump Gaza like video is it's horrible. And I get they're just trolling, they're just being douchebags for fun, but it's horrid. This is ethnic cleansing, and they're joking about it. That's kind of what Nazis do, and that's what these people are. So Israel has blocked all humanitarian aid going into Gaza. This is not the first time that Israel has done this, by the way, because this happened before, and then Biden got all over them. And now I'm going to get to the other thing that I wanted to talk about for this last little bit, which is talking to leftists. Because if you follow me on Blue Sky or some other places, you'll see me get into flames wars with leftists every now and again, probably about this issue and a couple others. Biden is the reason why we got even some of the aid into Gaza before. Now, Israel stopped it again. Donald is not going to put any pressure on them to restart it. So things are going to get really horrible really fast. This is from Marco Rubio, mentioned earlier. I want to say here, it says, this is the part where this disconnect between what the hell has actually happened over the last couple years on this issue and what people think has happened, right? The decision to reverse the Biden administration partial arms embargo, which was wrongly withheld a number of weapons and ammunition from Israel, is yet another sign that Israel... So that Biden was doing this was very well known by Israel and by a lot of high-dollar Democratic supporters, but the TikTok folks, they won't believe it for a second. They don't believe for a second that Biden did anything other than exactly what Donald wanted to do. The whole uncommitted movement and all that, just some of the most ridiculous crap, some of the dumbest conversations I've had. Although there are dumber things, and this is one of the biggest ones. Where do we go? Okay. So there's a measles outbreak. It's now in like a bunch of different states. They just announced they had cases in New York, and they're on coast to coast. Measles is a horrible disease that was eradicated through vaccines in the year 2000, the long ago, 25 years ago. This country eradicated this horrible disease, and it's back. And the guy who's in charge of this stuff is not going to help us. Washington Post, Bezos, yeah. Cancel your WAPO subscription. We actually had our Amazon Prime subscription lapse today, I think, or yesterday. These fascists, and the way that they think of themselves, because they have so much money, they're so insulated, they're about to try and pass this huge deficit-funded tax cut to give themselves even more money. So do what you can to fight against them a little bit. The Trump Gaza. Oh, this alien registration thing. So they did basically put out another executive order that says everybody needs to register for this website. But the problem is, even now, this thing doesn't have the form. It says everybody 14-year-old or older. This is the pretense for arresting people and deporting them. Say, oh, we created this new law and you're not following it. Do you have your paper? No? Oh, well, boom, gotcha. That's a criminal offense. See, because the immigration violations are civil, so they need to find a way to flip them over into criminals so they can call them criminals and then do all sorts of horrible, nasty things to them, which is what's happening right now in Gitmo as well, as they're sending their people for minor crimes with no legal representation. It is across the frickin' board. And then Donald's like, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell these for $5 million. For all the rich people that want to come here, because who's going to not pay $5 million to come here? And then he has this idiot secretary, his commerce secretary, Ludnick, who is just such a scam con man, being like, oh, we're going to make trillions of dollars off this. So I did the math on this, and if you're going to spend $5 million for a gold card, you probably have $50 million in assets. There's about 250,000 people on this planet that have that much, and 150,000 of them are already American. So even of that small little group, this is the dumbest way to do this, and this is stupid. It's just all dumb. And this is the end point for tonight. This is the dumbest thing. This brings us all the way up to the confirmation of the wrestling lady to be the Secretary of Education, with the intent of destroying the Department of Education because these people are idiots and they don't like to feel bad about it. But it's time to fight them everywhere you can, all the time. It's tiring. I know. But that's what we got. That's what we have to do to fight for our democracy at this point. If we don't, there is no one else to do it, folks. If it's not you, who? Stand up. Fight for your fucking country. Let's get to it, folks. Peace out. He's about to come on and start talking. I'm not going to watch it. But it's going to reset everything because he's going to say such stupid, ridiculous bullshit that our media is going to be distracted by it. So that's where we're at now, folks. Let's move forward.